I'm Rob Van Dam. The whole show.
Yes, what's up, everybody? Yeah, it's a Thursday. It's trash night, and I'm here with guess who? Guess who? Is it Spike Dudley? Is it Devon Dudley? Is it Bubba Ray? Who is it? It's Rob Van Dam. Hello?
Rob Van
Rob?
Dam.
Yeah, I nailed it. I got it.
And Barbie.
And Barbie.
Yay.
I like that you just popped her up out of nowhere, too. Hello,
What's
everybody.
going on, Dominator?
Nothing too much, my brother. How are you doing?
Good. Busy week. It's been a busy, productive week.
Nice. You had the baby shower this past weekend, too, with Katie, and I saw pictures. It looked great. How was it? It looked like a fun time.
Yeah, it was. It was. Katie had a great time having her family in, and they were here staying with us for like the week. So we had like a bunch of stuff, and they helped us out being productive around the house, getting stuff ready too, and painting and shit like that. And so little bit of rest right now after hustling, and we had a bunch of stuff going on all over the property at the same time.
Lots of stuff cooking, huh?
Yes,
How much stuff, like, do you have, I'd imagine you guys have a room prepared and everything like that for them, and all kind of set up, or is that still like a work in progress kind of thing, or are you guys mostly done with something like that? Like getting
dude, we got like so many gifts from everybody. Like, I don't think the babies are gonna want for anything because so many cribs and strollers and high chairs and whatever it is. And so Katie's got it all envisioned out. So yeah, you know, we got some room in the house, and we have a room dedicated to them that just got painted. And we are changing one or two or three other rooms around in the process of playing Tetris and making one piece fit. So a lot of work, but it's cool. We're always changing our house up and stuff like a studio anyway.
Yeah, it's a fun kind of work in progress kind of thing too, especially with something exciting as that coming along too. Two twins. Yeah, very, very fun stuff. And you can tell, I can tell how happy Katie is too, just seeing all her posts on social media.
Yeah.
And like, she's really excited about it, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, her favorite time of her life.
Heck yeah.
Pretty awesome. I'm excited, but not in a big hurry. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah. There'll be plenty of time to be hurrying around.
Here. Let's not rush anything. That's
right. But hey, we're live here on rvdtv.com or on Rob Van Dam's YouTube channel. If you're at either one, be sure to like, share, subscribe, get the word out about the show. Help.
not that we get like the huge numbers like some of the other guys. Some of the guys that they really know what they're doing, even if they didn't build that big of a status in wrestling, can do better on YouTube, and that's great, and I'm happy for them, and hope that continues. But just the fact that, like what you said, that we put this on a couple different pages, like, doesn't that make the people like that? Like some of the trolls will be in the comments, and they'll put like the crying, laughing emoji. Hi, you only got like so many people viewing this, you know, and it's like, I wonder if they know that it's like on two different pages, you know. Not.
I know. I think people like. I think part of it is like we're not part of the algorithm, or maybe we don't do like certain things the right way, or we're not doing eye-catching news dirt sheet kind of stuff a whole lot of ways. I think there's a lot of different factors coming in. But yeah, we're on several channels. Like, we go live on your X account. We go live on Rob Van Dam YouTube, which has like 40,000 or something subscribers, and then RVD TV has 20,000 subscribers. So it's like we're casting a pretty wide net so people can consume it in certain ways. But yeah, we still get trashed for oh, we don't get as many views as Nathan or like Stevie Richards or something like that. But
yeah,
you know?
no, but but also, like whenever there's an idea and it's something different than I do, if I don't want to do it, then it's just not worth it to me. You know?
Right. Well, we're gonna try a little
Chris
something.
always has ideas like, I don't understand why you don't want to do like them and do a video on this and that, and it's like, you know, I'm not really looking to put more work into this. I'm thinking let's start doing it every 2 weeks or something. You know what I mean? I can't believe it's Thursday again already. What the fuck?
I know, it's like just comes out of nowhere, and we're like, oh, holy smokes! Oh, great.
But either way, yeah, that's for you to figure out. And then, you know, I'm definitely the artist that I am. I'm definitely more interested in reaching people that are attracted towards me than trying to change to convince those that aren't that they should be. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
no,
the fans don't understand either. Like, no, you need to change and be more like that, and then more of us. Well, fuck off. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm here if you want to see me. If you don't want to see me, that's cool too. Then I'm not here for you. You know?
Right. That's it. So no, it's a work in progress, always kind of thing. And I think one of these times we'll catch on some stuff. But yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that today, because Rob, I actually was like, you know what? Maybe we'll do something that some of the other channels do tonight. And
you said do.
I did say do. And actually, I guess we could start off with that too.
Just don't start using all the negative.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking.
Painful. You know, if that's what gets us in the algorithm is saying so and so sucks, so and so's worst match ever, so and so don't do that. I'm not interested in bringing that kind of energy.
What do you think? What's your real thoughts on New Jack? Stuff like that. Well, no, it's not like that. So actually, what I was gonna do, and I saw a couple of the channels do this already. But have you seen like where they do the tiers thing? It's like the color scheme thing on the side. I was gonna do the most painful finishers. I was gonna name finishing moves, and you tell me where they rank on there. So it'd be like this, Rob. Here, I have something up here. Let me see if I can pop it up. I put the overlay. So boom, look, there it is. So the top is.
I haven't seen that. No,
you're not seeing it.
No, I see it now, but I haven't seen it on. You were asking if I've seen that, right?
Oh yeah, and then you put them in a category. So there's the 5-star pain. That's like the top most painful finishing move. Damn, that hurt. Then that was stiff, not bad, and then painless. And so I have a list of finishing moves. I'll just rattle them off to you, and you put them in one of those categories of where it's at.
Speaking of, I wonder what's keeping numbers down. I'm about to spark up. So
yeah, light it up. Yeah, I know. It's like, you know, that's the other thing too. Is like people are always like, "Oh, you got to be careful cursing and stuff like that." It's like I don't know what.
Got to be careful. What? Oh, cursing. Yeah,
sometimes and all that. But I'm like, that's not how we do the show a lot.
No, but if I believed that not cursing, not smoking, what else? If I believed it like that, if I believed like that alone, and maybe like one other thing was the difference between getting, you know, a couple thousand views and 50,000, then maybe I'd say, well, you know, we could try it. I mean, that's worth even editing it, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
But I don't, and I've never believed anything that I've heard, and I don't know how they do it, how they get like the hundreds of thousands, but however they do, I'm just glad for them, and I'm not desperate to follow suit. You know, I'd rather just be happy for them and follow my own path and get what I can. But that's but I've never heard like anything that suggested, you know, like I don't know what it is, but you know, I don't know if it's buying the views or if it's keywords like it used to be years ago, and they say it's not so much that anymore. And it used to be hashtags, right, or something. I don't know, but obviously you don't know either, or else we'd be competitive up there, but
Would be
or no,
close.
we wouldn't because I'd be bringing us down anyway, probably smoking and swearing, and sometimes we have titties on here. We don't have titties on here.
I don't think
Talk
that's
about
it
titties.
though, Rob.
We talk
I don't
about
think it's smoking. I don't think it's curse. I don't think it's any of that. I just
I mean, but I mean, you gotta think that can't help if you're doing everything towards trying to,
yeah, I'm sure maybe there's like because I know Conan's podcast, the guy Joe Feeney, who's a great guy. He posts it up there and he takes out all the curse words and everything on it. He bleeps them out and like silences them. And they do
makes,
huh?
Yeah, I wonder what difference that makes.
Yeah, I don't know because they give you the option too about having curse words when you post a video, and so I don't think it's like that big of a deal. But I don't know.
But I wouldn't want to, a lot of people like their feelings are so strong about smoke that they'll just whatever we talk about wouldn't even matter if they're some of the people that'll be, I don't want somebody fucking getting high on all that. So like I ever changed from the beginning to the end of but you know what I mean though.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
I can imagine where I would be like that. And I used to hate seeing myself smoke too, and I would never do it on video until just a few years ago because of that. Now I don't give a fuck, which happens, the world is friendlier towards it, but also I just, care less. Like, okay, that's what I look like when I smoke. That's what I look like when I'm eating, whatever.
All right. That's it. So, all right. So, Rob, I will read you some finishing moves. You tell me where they fall on this pain scale. It's like, almost at the doctor's office when they do that thing. Okay, I'm going to make you solo screen there. And then we'll start, Rob. I will pull up my list. And it is, where's it at? Here it is. Okay, we'll start with the Stone Cold Stunner. Where does that fall on the pain scale?
Are we playing now?
Yeah.
It's boring so far.
Oh, okay. Did you hear me though?
Oh no, you said something?
Yeah.
Oh. What'd you say?
I said the Stone Cold Stunner.
Oh. I don't like this game.
You don't like the game? Okay.
No. No, it's stupid.
Okay. Because that's what a couple of the channels did. And I was like, well, we can give it a try and see what happens.
We're not going to be like them. I mean, I'm looking at it, and I'm in the scheme of things. It's not as painful. I'm not going to say the guy's finish is painless. I mean, that's something too. You're not going to see me do. This is how to tell if a wrestler's really hurt in the ring. Like I hate that some of those guys do those videos, but maybe that's what if that's the people want to see, then
that's what they break down on.
That's not for me.
Yeah, you know what, Rob? I
will say that one of the most painful finishing moves is, and I've said this on here before, but the fucking Alabama Slammer. One of my least favorite moves to take. Patriot used to do it to me in All Japan. And Bob Holly, of course. Who else did that? Either way, you're up there and you're just waiting to take this fucking back bump and hope that you don't bounce the back of your head off the mat. And there's so much momentum going with it, as you can see. It's not a very soft bump to take.
I believe that. I was gonna ask about a couple of them though. Like, what about like how painful is a choke slam? Like just in general, is that a pretty easy bump to take, or is that a tough one?
No, I mean it's similar in the way that your body is moving is kind of backwards. Like you're up and your feet are out, and then you're going back. You could easily hit the back of your head on the mat, and often do bounce it off. It's and then like it's up. Sometimes you can land flat, or you could land, more vertical and just land on the back of your shoulders and your head, like boom, like so. A lot of variables with that one, but it's definitely, I wouldn't say that it's just easy to take. Whenever someone choke slams me, I'm not going to be one of the guys that barely gets up either. You know what I mean? Like that's definitely not the way that I work. So I'm going to go up there and be extreme and come down pretty hard.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Is the power bombs in the same realm of that? Like taking a power bomb? Because I hear stuff like how kind of risky or kind of somewhat painful that can be too.
It's very similar. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these are all I'm going forward with a roll is always easier, even though it's harder to land how you want to land because of the momentum. You know what I mean? Like, unless you have enough room. Like some of the guys, like when I would monkey flip either AJ or Eddie Guerrero, Matt Striker, these guys would have so much air, and then they could like tuck and land like right on their back at the last second, like boom. Otherwise, if it's like a snapping kind of move, then you don't have as much control over when you hit the mat. But it's a very physical job. That's why, like when people ask, like, hey, how much of that is fake? I literally feel like, let me just give you one body slam, and then you tell me.
Yeah.
I really think that would explain a lot to them.
Absolutely, right? I can only imagine.
And while we're on the subject, by the way, since we're here to just hear RVD's perspective, I've my whole career I've heard every wrestler try to defend the legitimacy of what we're doing by their injuries, and it's never made sense to me ever, but I've heard it my whole career where people say, oh yeah, people think it's fake, look at my elbow, you see that scab, look at my knee, I got this big scar right here, does that look fake to you? Well, that just means you fucked up and you fell. I mean, I know that if I watch a Broadway play on stage, I mean, I know that it's not, the story is completely scripted, set up. They've rehearsed it. They're acting 100% of it out. These people aren't really having any of these conversations. I know that, but if somebody is supposed to be lowered by a rope onto the stage and the rope slips and they fall and get hurt, that doesn't all of a sudden make the opera real.
Right.
So I've never understood that logic when wrestlers try to say, oh, you see these scars? That, yeah, no one told me it was fake. I've never understood that ever, because that just means you fucked up. I mean, we're really doing the moves, obviously. And a lot of it is like, at least was like catch can, like in All Japan, we'd go through the first 15 minutes of a match, we'd just be like, go like you're going to lock up and fake him out and go down and grab their leg and take him down. Ha, I got you, motherfucker. And then boom, they roll you up, and we were doing that in a competitive style. We really did want to outshine them, and they wanted to look better than us too. So that's what makes you look the best, is when you're out there trying to show off, trying to look great, and even if you are on the downside and getting some moves to you, you can still steal the show with your movements, your body's performance, your language, everything, and what you're doing out there. And so, when it comes to that part, that has always been competitive to me. I think that's what I was taught. I think that's why I did well in the business, and since I started, was always on my way up. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't spend years saying, well, I'm going to pay my dues doing jobs, then eventually it'll be my turn, it'll come around. It wasn't like that for me. Like right away, people were telling me that I was talented, that I was going to be something, I was going to be world champ, all that. And I was out there competing. And I remember the first couple of matches we had in Detroit. I was just like, man, I can't believe that guy told me he's been wrestling 10 years. Like, it sounded so long. And Sabu was like, fuck that guy. You're better than him. And I was just like, what? You know, like, dude, how? I mean, I don't know what I'm doing. This is like my second match. I'm not even. He's like, fuck that. That's the way he's been 10 years here working for himself, like once every 2 or 3 months on shows that he runs. He ain't never been nowhere. And Sabu just like changed my perspective. Then when the fans wanted my autograph or pictures with me when I was nobody and had just introduced myself to them, you know, a couple hours before, because I'd never been in this town before, and they're telling me that I was a standout to them, you know, like, you were my favorite wrestler on the show. I was like, whoa, really? That's because of the competitive spirit that other people might not have, and it might be completely erased now because everyone's out there. Not completely erased. I see it. I see that spirit in some of them, but overall, fans are getting into the business with the presumption that it's all just working together, like doing a movie or doing a an acting TV set. They're offended if somebody gets hurt or sticks up for the business in a way that's not safe or friendly for your every other work environment, and that's where it's changed so much, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's really actually that's great that you bring that up, because I actually took a quote from Kevin Nash this week to read to you about like kind of wrestling in the ring, and he's referencing Bret Hart. Actually, I'm pulling it up here. This was on like not this the latest episode of his podcast. So he said how Bret Hart gets misunderstood for a reason. He says Bret's always going to be misunderstood because Bret took it as a business, but he also loved it. It was his family's. It was his passion in his family. And then he said, I didn't appreciate the business until I got into the business. Then I realized, holy fuck, making it look like you kill somebody and not touching them is an art form. And Bret was an amazing worker. So like, and I remember Bret, I think when I interviewed him the one time, he happened to mention like how he took a lot of pride in not hurting anybody, but also making it something, where like so many people get hurt, like doing it and stuff like that. But yeah, looking at more of an art form and how you're doing it. But and the fact that you mentioned too, that the competitive nature of it all adds that other element that a lot of people don't really implement nowadays. I think that's pretty a fascinating thing. So like, yeah, I just thought that was cool that you happened to mention that even before I bring that quote up.
Yeah, true. But I mean, I feel like the stars that I grew up watching, the more of them were out there showing off, taking their moment to shine in a way where they were competing. You know, they want more TV time, and they're only going to get it by being out there doing better at entertaining than the other guys on the card. But now, when guys are trying that, a lot of times it comes across to me as if, and I mean, obviously I have the foresight and the knowledge of being in the business for 30, some years now, which is going to be a factor. But a lot of times it just comes across like everybody, when they try and do that, try and compete, they just do it in a way where it's just 100% all ego. Like they're all out there just, it's me. I'm so good. I'm going to show you how good I am. Watch how good I am. See that? It's me. It's all about me. And when everybody, it has that same energy, instead of it coming across competitive, it comes across more like they're trying to get into a role, and it makes it seem like they're not really there yet, and they're trying to fake it till they make it. And all of this might be true, might not, but it's just the way that it comes across, as opposed to the larger than life superstars that I remember growing up to that seemed to already be there. And I remember Steve Kern, by the way, first time I was in a dressing room in WWE, telling me that the average wrestler in the WWE had at least 10 years experience back then before they came there.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And now you think about it too, that some of the people that they're recruiting in WWE, they don't have any wrestling experience. They're like college athletes, and then they implement them into the system and stuff like that. So, and so if somebody gets onto the main television product, like a Trick Williams, he's only had probably like 4 years of wrestling experience or something, not a lot. And, there you go. You know, it's a different kind of environment now. But
I remember sitting in a room one time in 2015, counting the days till my contract was up. Actually, during that return run of mine, that was not my favorite. But I was in a room one time smoking a doob, and Roman Reigns was in there, and I was talking to him. And I asked him how long he'd been in the business. He said 4 years. And I was like, wow, 4 years. And these guys are getting one of the hard, it was Shield, you know?
Yeah.
They're getting one of the hardest pushes on the entire show. And I was just thinking, like, is that because he grew up in the business, because he was, a kid? Because that goes a long way. Or is that what the business is now? You know what I mean? And it was just amazing. And that was like a jobber tour for me. So I wasn't too excited about putting all the guys over. They were just learning, how to count to 3,
Right.
But that's something, like with Bret Hart, no one will ever say he didn't have wrestling in his blood. Same thing as Sheik, Sabu and the Sheik. When you're brought up in the business, you have a complete different understanding of what it really is. And then if you're from back when I started or before, everything was about protecting the business. Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And it just sounds like words, I think, probably to people now. We were talking earlier, doing commentary actually for the Sabu documentary that's going to be on released on another platform soon. Me and Joe was saying that Sabu was really pissed because there was a blade left in the ring that somebody, wasn't careful about grabbing. And I said, that's a perfect example of just that alone is not protecting the business, and of course Sabu would be pissed. That's the business I was brought into. That was a very punishable offense,
Right.
And now it's not about protecting the business at all. It's about what can we do if we don't worry about protecting it.
Yeah. Or what kind of visual can we create for people, like by doing a moveset or working together on something, and that there's
regardless of it, if it exposes the business or not, they don't that doesn't weigh against them doing the move anymore.
No, right? It doesn't. And it's unfortunate because you see those stinking spots. I hate the spots where they, like, one person, they go to do a superplex and then another person comes underneath them and then another person comes underneath them or by them. And it's like, they're all like kind of working together and then all this big suplex happens. And it's just like,
it's definitely changed,
Yeah. Oh, it's kind of frustrating sometimes. We do have some super chats. Frankie Terrizzo, thanks for the $2. He says, how were there not injuries every night in ECW?
Well, I mean, we were all tough guys, obviously. And we were there to show off our endurance. Sometimes we were a bunch of guys, and it was a time where you don't tell anybody if you're injured, So like Sabu and anyone that he that was within earshot of him would just, if it was up to him, get super glued if you got split open. And at first, some people thought he was crazy, and then the medics ended up telling us that was the same thing, basically, that they would do, except you would get stitches too. And so, like, whenever we get busted open, squeeze it together, you super glue it, a few seconds, and when you let go, you're good to go. And I've done that so many times, I don't even see the scars. Sabu taught me that, and here's the reason is because here's the rule that I was taught, and this was my self policy. Okay, if I can work, then I'm not hurt.
Right.
So that's the answer. So I showed up a lot of times with maybe a hyperextended knee or sore ankle or back or ribs or whatever, my shoulder. A lot of times I was really banged up, but I would never want the people to know they bought a ticket to see RVD. And even if it was Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania, maybe they've been waiting 2 months for this show since they bought their ticket. maybe RVD is their favorite wrestler. Maybe, they don't want to see a compromised version. They want to see the whole effing show. So I did what was necessary to suck it up and turn it on. There's a time to turn it off. And a lot of times that would be off time when I'm home. A lot of times I would walk very slow or spend time icing or recuperating. You know what I mean? When it's time to turn it on, boom, it's 100% go or nothing.
Let me ask you this too, because I think about say you wrestle in a place like Jim Thorpe, PA, or anything of that effect, and maybe the crowd isn't that big or certain things like that. What does really, when you had that moment, okay, I am going to turn it on no matter what, and do that? What did propel you to that? Was that a competitive nature of it? Was it you knew maybe somebody like Sabu would think badly of that kind of thing, or what would be a big motivator for you? Say if the crowd wasn't there, or it wasn't that big of a show, or anything to that effect. If certain elements come into play outside effects,
So first off, there's the old school rule. If the house isn't that big, are you going to punish the ones that did show up?
Yeah.
Or are you going to give them a great show so that next time they come back and bring their friends? That's the old school rule that you apply.
Mm-hmm.
Also, my experience at that time, I hadn't been in front of 70,000 people, or you know what I mean? So when I started with ECW in 96, there was like a couple hundred people at the shows. And then I saw it grow to 300 and then 400, 500. Jim Thorpe was one of those venues that eventually we dropped off when we started getting, 1,000 or more people. I think our biggest crowd was maybe 7. It was 5 or 7, depending on, or 5,300 at the Beaver Dome. What beat the Beaver Dome? Anyway, whatever it was, that would make it harder. Now, if I was in a crowd and there was 100 people there, I would turn it on and I would be completely in character, but no, I can't see me breaking my neck right now, trying new moves that I hadn't done before that I thought of in the car ride on the way there. And now, but I learned also there's ways to adjust and still give it your all. There's ways, like a lot of times, because RVD is former ECW, whenever I would wrestle after that, then people want to do an extreme match. They want to fight through the crowd. You know what I mean? That gives everybody a good show. If you fight, you're using, excuse me, sir, give me that bag of popcorn to hit my opponent in the face with, and, whatever it is, which I'm only going to sell popcorn so much. You know what I mean? Come on. Everyone knows what that feels like. It's fluffy. But
right.
But there's ways, that you learn to adjust and deal with that. But at the time when we were at Jim Thorpe, that crowd was, probably average, it was a shittier venue. And I was looking forward to not returning there because I didn't like how we had to dress all in this one room that was hanging off the cliff. The carpet would be wet, where's the bathroom? I got to walk through the people. I mean, I didn't like, some venues as much as others.
Right. Yeah. Jim Thorpe's one of the ones we've talked about on here, how nuts that was. It felt like it was going to fall off the side of the cliff.
Yeah. Indie-rific.
Indie-rific indeed. Maddie says, what does a sign on an out-of-business brothel say? Beat it, we're closed.
I love it.
Donna Van Dam fam. Has RVD?
I don't get it. No,
I don't get it.
That's funny.
Has RVD seen Mr. Iguana? Have you seen the Mr. Iguana guy, Rob? I told you.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. What do you think of that? He's kind of entertaining. I dig the style of that.
I haven't seen a lot of him. We talked about him before. You were telling me about him. And I didn't see. He's still around though, huh?
He's still around. He's in the AAA for NW bought AAA. So I mean, he's in that ecoscape there. So but you don't see him as much like when he really took off.
Yeah, no, I know he got a lot of hype when he was first seen, at least by the American crowd. I saw that he was in a lot of headlines or video YouTubes or Instagram, I guess it was a lot of. And I don't know. I just saw him, walk the top rope and took his hand out of the thing. And the guy held his sock puppet or whatever, the iguana. And I think maybe that's all I've seen of it.
Yeah.
Hey, want to take this moment in time to talk to you guys all about IndaCloud, one of our favorite sponsors here at RVD, one of a kind with RVD, and it's for good reason. IndaCloud gives good, high-quality product that fits your THC needs. If you're getting sick of that liquor cabinet, you want something a little bit more cleaner, something a little bit more refreshing to have, you can't get any better than IndaCloud. And man, let me tell you, the product that they have, diverse and fits your needs too, to have a pretty good time, even when the fall's hitting and you're getting into that seasonal change kind of thing like that. I'm always a little apprehensive when fall kind of gets me. I'm like, oh man, winter's coming. If you're in Pittsburgh too, it's a little added. I don't know. But IndaCloud makes it real good. They have so many different things like candy flavor too, IndaCloud. They got the strawberry soda, which is 20 milligrams of THC per piece. So, and it's all like a bag of candy here. Look at this. You get the dope rope here too. Blue raspberry. Can't speak highly enough of that too. So they give you plenty of different options here. All THC hybrid stuff, as well as the crystals. Look at these popping crystals there. Chronic crystals going on. Check that out. So plenty of different options here too. Also orange soda. We got sour apple soda. So lots of cool things you can pick and choose from, tailored to your needs. And we at RVD have a special deal for our listeners. You get 30% off. That is 30% off when you go to inda.shop/RVD and you use the code RVD. You get 30% off your first order if you're 21 years or older. So you cannot get any better than IndaCloud. Such a cool new sponsor that we have here too, that I'm happy to be a part of and kind of support, because if you know RVD, IndaCloud's a good spot for him. If you're 21 years or older, go to indacloud.co. Use code RVD for 30% off your first order plus free shipping. That's indacloud.co, code RVD, 30% off, free shipping, and a better mood showing up right to your door. Take their quick survey when you order to support the show, and thank IndaCloud for making October feel a little later.
It caught on pretty good. It was, he got some good fanfare for that. So we'll see. I mean, they're selling his puppets too for like $70 on WE. So
wow,
so
nice.
Yeah.
Right next to Mr. Sacco.
Right next to me, and your singlet, Rob.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I gotta send that. I looked it up. It's like they have all these different sizes for it, just in time for Halloween.
Got to look that up. That's on the website, right?
That's on the shop. Yep, on the shop. Frankie asked another interesting question here, Rob. What's the difference between the New York and Philly fans in ECW? Did you happen to notice a difference between them?
Man, they're very similar. A little bit of an accent. That's all.
Yeah,
from my perspective, and they might get mad at me saying that because they have a rivalry against each other and don't probably want to be compared in a favorable way. But the Philly guys, Philly girls, everyone from there sounds like they're from there. The way that they speak is a special way with their vowels, and same with New York. New York puts an R on the end of words that end in A, just for no reason at all. And that's so I would say just that, because our target audience back then was, no matter where you were, we would find these people are representatives of this target audience in different states that you would never think of: Ohio, Florida, Tennessee, whatever. But 30-year-olds, I guess 20, 30-year-olds, mostly males, black, t-shirts, same dudes that are at the rock concert or mosh pit or whatever like that. That was our hardcore crowd. That's how I saw it, because in Georgia at the same time, it was like kids get in free, kids 12 and under, bring your parents. And it was a total different show when you're aiming it towards kids than it is when it's these people of the street of the night in the northeastern part of the country that are waiting for you to slip up so they can say, you fucked up. Total different crowd than I had ever experienced before. And like I said, we found some of them in different parts of the country, but by that point, those fans were imitating the original fans. So can't really say that they were acting as themselves. You know what I mean? They, like the fans in Philly that were on TV, that were in the front row every television episode, they had their own fans. There was a dude in Japan that dressed like Hat Guy with the flowered shirt, and that was amazing that the fans had fans. But so that's why even if you were in Atlanta, the fans would try to act like the ones they saw on TV, but they were just playing the part for the night mostly. I don't think there was like a big grunge scene or anything like that, like in the Northeast.
Yeah, around that time too, it's like you think, and even today, it's like you look at that 18 to 35 male demographic. That's like going to be a core big part of the audience that's coming to just see pro wrestling. And I think maybe some people could make a case, hey, the Philly fans are rowdier just because they associate Philly with ECW more than maybe New York in a little bit of ways. But even at the same time, it's just like you're still getting that same kind of audience coming up. And
if you grew up in New York City or around there, or you grew up in Philadelphia, either way, you grew up in a neighborhood with a bunch of mobsters and cops.
Yeah, right. It's the same kind of, especially like South Philly too. That area is very much like core city people basically.
Yeah.
Let's see. Maddie's got a couple other jokes here. He says, "What do you call a bra you can't take off? Booby trap."
Yeah.
I didn't get to hit. Maddie sent a bunch of jokes last week, and I didn't get to hit any of them. I don't think. People are like, Maddie's loving your Johnny Ace, Rob. How would Gary Coleman meeting Johnny Ace sound?
Man, I can't remember what Gary Coleman
I can't remember what Gary Coleman sounded like either. What you talking about, Willis? That's it. That's all I got.
What you talking about, Dom?
Hey, hey, Rob. It's my best Johnny Ace I could do. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love going.
Gary, when you see Willis, tell him I need to talk to
him. Maddie also adds, RVD, the whole effing show. Did Sabu teach you your humble vibe? Is that more of a learned experience, Rob?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of if there was an influence that I could name, that made me. I mean, I think all of us end up being, like, as far as the behavioral patterns go, we end up being like kind of like what we want to be. You know what I mean? Like, we work towards that, and we, if you want to be an asshole, be mean to everybody, then that's kind of what you do. You know what I mean? And if you want to be considerate or you want to be cool, then you act like that. You work towards it, and you regret times when your actions were not consistent with the way you want to be. I'm trying to think of because I definitely wouldn't describe myself as humble when I was just reaching adulthood, like when I'm like 18, 19, 24, 25. That's one of those thoughts. I still, when I was in, when I came to maybe it was being around. So, like I could be a big fish in a small pond, right? Like I was living in Savannah, Georgia, even like in 92, 93. It's kind of like a small town, and there's a couple of tough guys in town that we knew, who they were, whatever. And you measure yourself sometimes against them, especially if there's situations or whatever. And I remember like being really cocky, like from when I graduated high school till, I don't know, probably 23, 24, somewhere around there. And a lot of it was fake it till you make it. You know what I mean? Like I was not getting any girls were not lined up to date me. But I remember like one girl, I had her she was a friend, and I would tell, and I would talk like I was doing a promo all the time. You know what I mean? Like, I call myself Mr. Right even, like, everyone wants to be with Mr. Right. You know what I mean? And maybe I'll go to visit you at the college, at the dorm, and give the girls, a good day and treat them to a favor, and they get them to show me. And she would laugh, which would feed my ego, but I didn't really believe it. But I kind of like put that out there. And it's something that I notice a lot of people don't ever get out. You know what I mean? If you say, "Oh, this guy looked just like you," how many people are going to go, "Sounds like a handsome dude"? Like I think about that a lot of times, and personally, I try to recognize the level of my ego, and I try to keep it down, especially for making decisions, because everybody has an ego. And after studying it, I feel like it's definitely part of the defense system to survive. You have to believe that you can, see red and take, throw your fists and take this person out. Otherwise, you're not going to try it, and you're not going to be able to survive, and you're going to get killed. And I think that's probably something that was designed way back from hunting and whatever, like the first people, cavemen or whatever. But to hear, everybody, everyone's proud. Like the people from Philly are so proud to be from Philly. People from New York are so proud to be from New York. But why? Is it really because that's that great of a city? Or are we just brought up to believe everything that's ours, we're supposed to have this enormous pride in, like, who here says D'Angelo's the coolest name in the world? I bet you do, right?
Me, I do.
Right,
it's me.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I think ponytails on guys are gay. I'm conscious enough to where I'm not going to be like, hey, wait a minute. No, they're not. They're cool. I'm going to be like, all right, maybe, I don't,
whatever.
I don't care. But that's like, that's going against the nature of how we're brought up, at least environmentally, to have pride in everything that has to do with us. But everybody feels that way, and everybody has their own values. And so there's always going to conflict. Everyone's going to be right with their opinions and think, no, my mom's the best mom. No, my mom's the best mom. How can you say one of them is really wrong? You know what I mean? But people are so stupid that they put so much energy into that. And not all people, but I mean, on a conscious level, the last thing that I want to be at this point in life is braggadocious. When people ask me, hey, so what do you do? If they don't know, I'm like, oh God, because it's, if I say wrestling, it's an interesting job. And I don't mean it like, oh, poor me, I got to talk about it. But I don't, I would rather not know you in that way. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to open up and share my life with you. And that's what you're going to want to do. Just drink your fucking beer and shut up, But, I remember being very humbled when I started in All Japan. And I'm 22 years old, just turned 22 2 months ago on my first tour. And I'm in a room with, like Steve Williams and Terry Gordy and Danny Crawford and I don't know, Johnny Smith and all these guys. And they had so many stories. And they, at that point, seemed like they'd been wrestling for 30 years to me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And here I am, young and green and completely unproven in this world. Now I'm in a big pond. Now I'm in a big ocean. And being cocky, acting cocky ain't going to get me nowhere there except disrespected, you know, maybe even hurt. Who knows? But listen to those guys talking about the stories of the fights they've been in, and I remember that time in Germany, and we got in that fight at that bar, and then they remember, those mobsters we had to, and I'm, you know, I really felt humbled. I felt, you know, like uninteresting. I felt like the most boring person that didn't have anything to offer, just waiting for them to pass the joint to me. And I'm just hoping they don't ask me a question, you know, hey, tell us some stories, Rob. You know, my dad bought me a car and I wrecked it. You know, like I hadn't been anywhere. I hadn't traveled around the world and shit. Hadn't done decades of blow and like fucking survived cop fights. And that made me feel like my place was at the bottom of the totem pole. And maybe that is something that humbled me organically. But as a conscious level, you know, I don't put, I'm proud, but I don't put that much stock into all of my accomplishments because they're just my accomplishments, not someone else's. You know, everyone has their own accomplishments and needs to measure their own level of success by their own values and what they want to accomplish.
Yeah. What I was kind of thinking too, I was just kind of putting it together, but I remember when you said you went to WWE too, and like it was such a competitive environment and like, you know, kind of different mindset. And like we talked about how Sabu didn't like it there. But like, yeah, I think of somebody like how Austin was super competitive, you know, at that time and like really protective of the spot. But so was other people too. And you weren't about playing like a political game at that point either.
Right.
And
so I felt very replaceable. I always felt like I could be replaced anytime the whole time I was there.
Right. Yeah. And I kind of think too, like maybe you're like, oh man, I just don't. Like I can imagine it because I would feel the same way too, where I just don't want to like try to edge my way in, or this is what I got to do to get it to the top and do that kind of stuff. Even though, yeah, like you have confidence in yourself and you know you could be a star, but I think like somewhat that can kind of keep things in perspective of humility and be like, I'm not all about that kind of thing, and yeah, this guy can do it, but not maybe me. That's not my type of thing, and so maybe that's kind of a mentality too, where you got some of that. I don't know.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, I the way that I was trained was more of let my actions speak for themselves. You know,
Mm-hmm.
in that environment, sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes you need to have your actions speak for themselves. Also, maybe pull the right guy aside, build a relationship with them. Maybe even like hand over some ideas, maybe that you have, you know, and stuff like that. Just was not my game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Was that kind of aspect of it all? Is that probably like one of your least favorite parts of being in the wrestling business? Is like getting in that political ecoscape?
Yeah, probably that and the travel. You know, I mean, the travel. Obviously, the travel was fun, and sometimes there's still, you know, some trips that are cool, especially if I could bring Katie with me now and go, you know, somewhere international, then that's a little different. But now I'm not just one guy in an army, you know, that's going from town A to B to C to D. Now it's, you know, VIP treatment. So it's different now. But back then, the travel was a lot of work. It was monotonous, nonstop. Sometimes I didn't even know where I was. It was just like a whirlwind. And you wake up in hotels in the middle of the night the darkness, and you're like, which way's the bathroom? I can't remember that, you know, or you forget what hotel room you're staying in because it's the 5th room you stayed in that night. You know, how are you supposed to remember, you know, 221? No, that was last night. That was a lot of work. And I would have, but I mean, I can see with the bigger picture, you would be a more valuable employee if you were, well, employee, independent contractor. You would be more valuable if you were somebody that offered ideas and was overly helpful instead of just saying, watch my work in the ring and get back to me. You know, you do offer more value if you look at it that way, especially from a more regular business and less locker room kind of perspective.
Yeah, like less political and more just proactive kind of thing, like kind of vibe.
Which
yeah,
sometimes can be interchangeable, but yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly. Maddie, he says, Rob Van Dam from Boston.
From Boston.
Bob Van Dam from Mobile, Alabama.
That makes me think of Bob Holly because he's from Mobile, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. And he did the Alabama Slam.
Does the Alabama Slam? Yes, sir.
Yep.
I never let them know how much that always knocked the wind out of me or knocked the. You know what? Did you used to get the wind knocked out of you?
Oh, yeah.
Why does that stop? I guess that stops at a certain point because, like, it used to happen all the time, and now it's been decades. Like, when's the last time I had the wind knocked out of me? What's that?
I remember when I was a freshman in college, and there was like a field right by where I was in my dorm, and we were all playing football, like not flag football, but like 2-hand tap, I think it was.
Day football.
Yeah, right. But I remember this big dude. Like, I either ran into him, he ran into me, but boom, he smacked. Either way, we connected, and I had the wind just fucking knocked out of me. And I was just like, I was just a freshman in college too, trying to make friends. So I'm like, well, what a fucking start this is.
There must be something that happens when we're growing and then just stops, like in our mid-20s or something, because I can't remember the last time, but that was almost like the Rock'em Sock'em Robots. Like anytime you hit him, the head's gonna pop up, right? That's anytime I would fall sliding down the hill in my sled, boom, hit a big ramp and like crash or get punched in the stomach or just like fall doing a flip, wiping out on my bike. Like no matter what, that used to be the automatic thing was, I can't breathe. And I can't remember. Like it's probably been fucking, I don't know, 30 some years now.
Didn't happen in the ring too much to you when you got
amazing.
Really?
I mean, it must have happened at least. I can't remember it happening at all though. It must have.
That's crazy. I would think that would be like a regular occurrence almost. Don't like
right.
You know?
And by the way, like, oh my God, what a horrible thought that is. Like like newfound fear, I would say, if this was the first time I thought about it. But like before my match is one of the reasons that I get myself so worked up. We're talking about this on the commentary. Me and Sabu both, like the day of the match, our mood is totally different. We go through different things, but we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to not fuck up, to not disappoint, to be impressive. You know what I mean? There's a lot of pressure on there. And one of the things for me is I don't want to be blowed up. If you don't know what blowed up means, that's I still remember the first time that Sabu told us about that term. Like it was on a trip to Vermont that we've seen the footage of so many times on YouTube now. But we were at the dinner table and Sabu said, when you eat too much and you're full, that's called blowed up. Same thing as like if you're winded and you can't breathe. He just went back on eating, and we were like, we were laughing, like blowed up. He said, yeah, you say, I'm blowing up. We were like, me and Dango were laughing like little kids. We kept going. We were picturing just like exploding and shit. We were so stupid and silly. And Sabu was always, like the big brother, like, shut up. It's, you guys are ridiculous. It was always like that. But that is also the worst feeling in the world is when you can't breathe. And sometimes you can feel like you're in great condition, great cardio, and then you get jet lag from taking a trip to Japan, and you're up at nighttime having a match when it should be morning or something over here, and your chemistry's fucked up. And sometimes you can get to where you're on the mat and you're like, and it feels like, at least to me, it would feel like someone was sitting on my chest, and it's one of the worst feelings. I put it up there with pain from an injury, but when that happens, I feel so helpless. I feel like anybody could just do whatever they want with me, and I wouldn't be able to defend myself. And that's a position I'm not comfortable with. And so, like, it would happen once, and then years go by before it happens again because it's on my mind. And I want to make sure I'm warmed up. I do the jumping jacks, and I'm doing my kicks, shadow boxing, push-ups. Everything I do, I've done for years. That's part of my process. And I try to get my wind up enough and stretch my lungs out so that when I go out there, I'm not going to blow up, But once in a while, I'm running behind. I don't have enough time. I don't warm up enough because I think I got more time than I do. And they're like, Rob, your music's hitting. I'm like, what? And I'm taping up my wrists or whatever. And I'm like, and that's what's going through my mind is don't blow up. Don't blow up. Try to fucking, pace yourself enough because, certain styles when you're like, boom, boom, hit the ropes, fucking double leg lariat, get up, duck. Certain styles take a lot more energy than others,
Yeah.
And you don't want to compromise that if you don't have to. So that's the main thing is being blowed up. So, man, if the wind got knocked out of me often during matches, I would hate wrestling.
That would be real shitty. What do you do when your opponent gets blown up, Rob? Like, as the other guy in the ring, how do you continue to tell the story or make it work when somebody's blown up?
Well, it depends. If it's somebody then you want to make them look bad, you keep picking them up and throwing them off the ropes.
Yeah. If you want to do, yeah.
And that's where it gets competitive. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, if you want to work around it, then you gotta be creative and do maybe interact with the crowd, a little more than you were going to, and really, one of the things that you're taught when you start wrestling is what's called rest holds. Even though you're putting your opponent in a hold, but at the same time you're getting rest. You're trying to re-regulate your heartbeat and your breathing patterns. And when you get a chance and you're down, even if sometimes even just covering them, sometimes if you just cover somebody and during that 3 count, it's like, trying to pace yourself and keep yourself going, and then kick out, and you got to keep going. So you find spots when you can rest, and if it's somebody that's a piece of crap in the ring with you, then it's going to be a short match. You're going to beat him, and he's going to get ridiculed by the dressing room.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. That's certain different ways to handle it, right?
Yeah.
Heck yeah. All right. That's interesting. Yeah, man. Like, I always hear about when people get blown up in the ring, and it's just like, oh, it's not a spot you want to be in. Not a spot at all.
Yeah.
Seth, thank you for the $20, brother. He says, RVD, I saw you shared Io Sky taking an Alabama slam on the apron. What'd you think? It looked safer than the regular kind to me because she got her arms and shoulders across the apron and it took pretty evenly. Am I wrong?
Well, so the apron is really stiff. Yeah. Like back in the day, they used to have the under the rope, the apron. There wouldn't be as much padding there, if any. And that was one, because you didn't need it out there, but two, fans come up there and they want to feel how hard it is. They would feel the wood underneath the canvas, and it's not like it's soft out there in the middle either. But but obviously that's the prioritized place where you're working. That's why whenever you do moves out on the apron, it's a little bit stiffer. At least traditionally it is. Now, if you have the 1-inch dense padding that they use, even the 2-inch one, they will usually have it go all the way to the end, so that it's square, so that it's even. Mm-hmm. But still, it doesn't like wrap around. If it wrapped around, it wouldn't look right. So it has to go and then be even with the wooden planks underneath it.
Yeah.
And then there's the canvas. So when you're hitting the side of the apron, you're still hitting the wood, at least the wood, the side, the 1 to 2 inches of condensed padding, but that's just a layer. Underneath that is going to be the wood, bam, and under that it's going to be the metal that's holding the wood. So it didn't look safe to me at all.
Oh, yeah, wow. Rob, man, the way you break it down too, it's so different, because I wouldn't have even thought about like back in the day where it didn't even reach the apron, and sometimes that would be the hardest part. So a fan feeling it would be like, oh shit, that's hard. I would have never thought about that. And I see that nowadays when I go to like the independent shows, like the one I do in Pittsburgh here, and I see them setting up the ring. You're right, like a lot of that gets pulled over on the side, but obviously it's still a hard part of the ring because it's the side of the ring, and so.
If they have something that's so thin that they can like pull it over, then it's like carpet padding or something. It's not doing anything anyway. You can't do that with 2-inch condensed, thick padding. It's not going to bend that way. It's too thick. It's not that soft. And if it did bend, then the apron and the skirt would look all fucked up. So it's like it's got to be an even edge. Like this, and it's going to be, layered. The fucking padding, the wood, fucking metal. And if you bump up against the side of that, you're hitting all of it. So good luck.
Hey, it's Dominic D'Angelo of RVDTV.com, one of a kind with RVD. And there's one of a kind deodorant you should be using, and that is Mando. Yes, I was just at an independent wrestling show, IWC, in Pittsburgh here. And I remember just sweating. I was sweating like crazy. It wasn't crazy hot, but I was sweating enough to know, hey, I need a little Mando. Thankfully, my brother, he had an extra stick in his duffel bag, and I was happy to have it. And you're going to be happy to have it here too. My favorite is the Mount Fuji, but I also really like the bourbon leather. And this is the bourbon leather right here. An expert tip, I stick this baby in the fridge, and right before I go out, boom, I slap this on. Feel great, and you feel confident too, and you smell great too. Another great product here is the deodorant spray. This is the Mount Fuji deodorant spray. And I tell you what, whenever you're really, really in a tight spot and you feel like you need a little spray down here, this is perfect to get out there, get going, and not worry about what your musk is out and about. So we at RVDTV.com, at One of a Kind with RVD, have a special deal for our listeners. That is correct. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, this right here, cream tube deodorant as well, and then 2 free products of your choice, like the mini body wash and the deodorant wipes. I also recommend the deodorant wipes. Those are great too. Plus, you get free shipping. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use code RVD at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them that One of a Kind with RVD sent you. Mando's got you covered with deodorant plus sweat control. Say goodbye to sweat stains and hello to long-lasting freshness. Oh my gosh, yeah. I think we talked about this way back when, but what was the softest ring to wrestle in? Like, was it ECW? Was it WCW? Was it ECW? Was there a certain one that was like, oh, this one's easier to take bumps in than the other?
WWE and All Japan, and that's because they preferred the bigger ring, and the bigger ring tends to have a little more give. The ropes don't stay quite as tight because the smaller it is, the more you can control that. And I don't like a ring with a spring in the middle. That's something that some rings have. It's usually not TV rings, but on the indie scene or whatever. And I don't like the way it provides a bit of a reverberation when I'm like running across to hit the ropes, and it feels like it's echoing under my knees, you know, kind of. And I don't like the padding that's too soft where my feet are going to sink in either, you know. So I like a stiff ring. And the kickboxing ring that I used to have in my backyard, by the way, Kit Likens ring that I used to practice in all the time, it was the wooden planks, and the wooden planks were over just metal railings, I guess, that went the other way. So there was no give at all in the middle or anywhere. All wood, like 2x10s, not plywood.
Yeah.
Planks all the way across it. And a couple going the other way. And then what he had was literally carpet padding. That was the first thing, you know, that I ever had. So when I would replace it, I'd be dumpster diving in the carpet places in Battle Creek, trying to find the biggest rolls that I could. And it was so uneven. We had that thing so lumped up everywhere. Like there'd be like mounds, big mounds of, you know, where like 5 of them came together and overlapped with other ones where there was just wood, and you could, and what was underneath the shitty carpet padding was literally a blue plastic tarp.
Yeah.
So that was the very first ring. So I didn't come up being spoiled, you know.
Yeah.
After learning and taking bumps in that, I always thought the stiffer the ring, the better, the more support. So if I want to jump off of it and do a leapfrog, I'm not going to push the ground down at the same time I'm trying to push me up.
Yeah, yeah. So ECW's ring, was that maybe the
ECW's ring was stiff. And you know what? I sold ECW their ring.
That's right. Yeah, I remember you saying that now.
Yep,
yeah.
It was an NWA ring in Augusta, Georgia, that I came across, and you know, I had bought it, and then when I came to ECW, I can't remember if they were looking for a ring or what, I guess, but for whatever reason, anyway, I sold it to them, to Paul, and then he used it for a while, and then my understanding is they built one just like it, and then used that one in the school or whatever. But that was my favorite ring always. Steel cable, 18 foot by 18 foot. That's the outer dimensions, 16 foot in the inside, and I can't remember if it had plywood or planks, but whatever.
Is that your ring preference then too? Like
18, yeah.
18 by 18 and then 16 in the ring?
It's still cable.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to have a double frame. If you don't have a frame around the bottom of the ring, no matter what you do, the tops of the poles are going to come in and your ropes are going to get loose. I don't care how many cross cables you put underneath it or chains or whatever. You have to have a double frame to keep those poles straight up. And I've learned that over and over and over and over again, and seen it and still see it. But I have had quite a few rings go through my hands now. But yeah, stiffer is better, and the same with the ropes. I like the ropes to be really, really tight.
Yeah. That's I love that kind of aspect of it all, because the ring can be very different from one to the next, and so
and I don't like 16-footers. And I get it, you know, they're easier for indoor venues and stuff, but just my personal preference, I hate being in those rings. They feel so small. They you know, there's like, I can't even do the Rolling Thunder without making sure, you know, that I'm using every single foot, and I got as much room to do my somersault, you know, without rolling over the guy and him stopping me. He's got to be far over by the ropes, or I don't have a chance. And anyway, you know, you get a total different match with a 16-foot ring because of that.
Yeah, I could imagine that too. I bet you love the Micromania ring then.
Yeah, well, it's big for them.
Yeah.
I haven't worked in that ring.
Yeah, guys, if you're not familiar, in Las Vegas at the Nerd, there's the Micromania arena that's there, and there's just this tiny ring in there, and it's a sight to behold.
And thank you to the Micromania for all the wonderful baby gifts and hosting our baby shower too.
Yeah, it was a neat setup for all that. Perfect setup for it.
Yeah, yep.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, it's cool down there. But for me, being in a 16-foot ring is the last thing that I want to do.
All right.
I feel like it's disrespecting me if you do that.
You shorten the ring, you're disrespecting RVD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put that on my flyer.
FYI.
Must have 18 foot. It's weird. It sounds weird to think that 2 feet would make that big of a difference, but it really does.
I bet it does, though. Like, it's like, that's a whole other footstep, you know? It's like, that's a lot. It changes the aspect of it all, I can imagine. All right, this is the last paid super chat, so we'll close it out after this one. I do have, well, let me ask you this real quick, Rob. Fonzie and I covered him versus Beulah, that match that he had way back when. What are your memories of that? Like, I watched it like for the first time this week, and man, he was a bloody mess. The ring got just fucking saturated. He was saturated in blood, but the crowd was electric for that match.
Yeah.
Do you have any memories of that in that night? When it went down?
I was proud of him because he didn't usually have matches. You know, he wasn't normally a wrestler, but he was going out there to wrestle Beulah, and I was like, "What? What are you gonna do?" Like, and I was proud that he went out there, and from what I remember, I mean, it was a really entertaining match. The crowd loved it. I don't remember the details right now, but I remember watching in awe, and I remember he was losing so much blood that I was thinking, you know, is he? I don't know. Is he working? Is he like dizzy? Is he losing his balance? You know, like that. That's a lot of blood. Is he? You know, is he losing too much? Do we need to worry about him? But that was something. Him and Beulah both. I was impressed with him.
Yeah, like they did some moves, and I didn't expect it. Like when I was watching the match, and like so he did like a modified body slam that was like a body slam that had a baby with a gourd buster. And it was like, so he like flipped her, and then he did the flare chop to her in the corner. He did a little bloater, give her a low blow, which was crazy. The crowd was like, but it really got the crowd into Beulah, and it was just it was really well done. I was really impressed.
Did she do a Hurricane Rana?
Yes, she did. Because Fonzie picked her up for a power bomb. And they were at the corner, and he was going to power bomb her, but she turned it into a Hurricane Rana, and that's the finish of the match. That was the finish.
Yeah, I don't remember too much of it, and I'm not normally a fan of intergender wrestling personally, but I remember that I felt like they worked hard.
They did work hard, and it was cool. Fonzie, like too, he he had such a ring presence, even when he's all busted open and bleeding like crazy. He was just like acting like he's been there before. It was
Yeah.
It was really good stuff. All right, we'll close out with this here, Rob. Instagram Wrestling Historian, you got some favorites here, Rob. What's your favorite ECW and TNA match?
I don't know. I think maybe the last time that I wrestled Sabu at the Hardcore Justice TNA pay-per-view, that's up there. As I also like the match I wrestled with Jerry Lynn, that Metal Mayhem match. Those two stand out in my mind for favorites. But I mean, I loved. I really liked my match with Abyss. The whole effing show, I think the pay-per-view or the night was called. Anyway, Jeff Hardy, you know, had a lot of great matches with AJ. If I got to pick one, that's what comes to mind really is that match with Sabu that I really thought that was cool, representing ECW in TNA and just always, you know, the love that everybody had for ECW, for it to continue its mythology, you know, and in other companies through all of us that were there, that that bleed ECW. My ECW match, if we're not counting the one night stand, then probably it's not easy because I loved wrestling, Sabu, I loved all my matches there, but probably I would say maybe my favorite would have been Jerry Lynn, because that just brought everything to a whole new level. We challenged each other and ourselves, got better through wrestling each other, and it was at a time when the company was really being watched and growing, and I felt like, man, the crowd was so good, reactive, during those matches, and I loved it.
Man, yeah, you can't beat any of those Jerry Lynn matches. Those are so good, and getting to watch all the Sabu matches that you had too. When
Loved wrestling Bam Bam Bigelow.
Bam, yeah, that's another great one too, man. And yeah, you and Mike Austin would have tore the house down too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Stuff. But I love tagging with Sabu, wrestling the Dudleys, the Eliminators. A lot of really good matches. But yeah, I'm gonna say Jerry Lynn for a few reasons, and one of them was that was 4 or 5 years into ECW when we were all developed at our highest point too.
Yeah. What a hot time too, man. Yeah. Good stuff. All right, Rob.
All right, Dominator.
This was a good one. This was a good, nice, short one.
Yeah.
Could be fun. It was cool to hear your ring stuff. I really like that stuff. So we covered some good ground here tonight, Rob. Anything you got going on you want to plug? Are you doing anything this weekend?
Nah.
Keeping it
easy. Nothing to share with the good people. I'm just looking right now in some of the chat. I was in the 6-sided ring only one time, so I can't really. Okay. The only thing I can say, and that was in Mexico. Like when I got to TNA, they had just switched.
Yeah.
What up, Facade? By the way.
Yeah. What's up, Facade?
But yeah, in that AAA match where the TNA booked me at when I wrestled, was it Pero Aguayo? No, why is that name in my head? No, it's Dr. Wagner. Sorry, I don't know why. Anyway, Dr. Wagner Senior. It was interesting that I couldn't even tell I was on a 6-sided ring. That's the one thing I remember about it is it felt very, you go to hit the ropes, off of instinct, and boom, they're right there. Straight across is the other one. Like it really didn't throw anything off until trying to get up on the top rope in the corner was a little bit different. You know what I mean? It wasn't quite the same angle because it's got to make a hexagon. But for the most part, it was easy to forget right away that I was in a hexagon. And Venice Beach Dub Club says he was in Poughkeepsie for the famous Jerry Lynn match. So,
how about that? That's awesome.
And a lot of the Jerry Lynn matches kind of like blend in. I don't remember which one necessarily was this one, guilty as charged or this or whatever. But I do remember in Poughkeepsie, particularly, I remember when I kicked him off the top rope, and when he fell down to the ground on his way down, his hands. And we normally wouldn't have mats outside the ring in ECW, cement. But for the New York Athletic Commission, a little different. We had to have mats. But anyway, Jerry on his way down, he pushed the mat away as he broke his fall, so his head, bounced off the concrete. I remember that. I remember a lot of the Poughkeepsie matches. I remember Skull Von Crush, wrestling him there. That was a fun time. That was a great crowd. I used to always get in trouble for smoking the dressing room up because I would go like across the hallway to this dark room, but all the smoke would come in there, and by the end of the day, like somebody would be bothered by it, and obviously, who was it?
Hey,
Sabu.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, I'll always remember those orange seats all on not surrounding the ring. So like more on like one side. Like was there a stage behind us? There must have been. I don't know. It doesn't seem like the chairs went all the way around for some reason. But anyway, maybe I don't know. But yeah,
he said it was hardcore heaven. He said, and then he said, "Yeah, the DVD Jerry, the Death Valley driver Jerry, is just knocked the fuck out. Tough motherfucker, recover and continue having a great match. That's crazy. I got to go back and watch that match."
You'd be surprised at some of the matches where one of the guys is knocked out, and I don't know if I feel comfortable really talking about it or not. But one time, like this was on my way out from WWE. I guess it's okay to talk about, but Randy got heat for going on Twitter or something and saying, thank goodness for Rob carrying me through that match. I was out the whole time.
Wow. Yeah.
It was one of the very last ones. It was either a stretcher match or the one right before that. But he hit the corner post like towards the beginning and was just out. And sometimes that happens. And we would never even think about stopping the match. Not back then.
Yeah, Kurt Angle had that match too. It was a triple threat match. Him, Triple H, and The Rock, and like it was for the World Heavyweight, or it was for the W Championship, and I can't remember what the pay-per-view was, but he recalls just being completely knocked out, and like literally like Stephanie kind of had to help him because she was there, and like he had to get carried through that whole match, and like it's kind of just what you said about Randy too. It's nuts.
More often than you think.
Yeah, I believe it. Well, cool. Oh, Seth did say he meant DVD, like a disc, not the Death Valley driver. So let's clarify. All right. Cool.
Shout out to Louis Spicoli.
Yeah, right. Shout out to Louis. Yeah. All right, Rob. Well, this is good stuff. We'll close it out here. Guys, be sure to go to rvd420.com and get some of that great glass that they got over there. They're a great sponsor for us and everything. So be sure to support them. Also, before I forget, go to IndaCloud too. Check out IndaCloud. Go to inda.shop/RVD, and you can use 30%. Get 30% off when you use code RVD on the website. They're our sponsor this week, and big time. They got some great stuff. They got hard candy. They got dope ropes. They got a lot of cool THC infused items. So be sure to check it out. Support the show, and go there to check it out. So, Rob, I'm glad
might have some news on an RVD brand coming soon.
Ooh, really?
We'll just drop that right there.
Oh, we'll leave it right here for now.
Check out the Sabu doc if you haven't seen it on kinema.com.
Kinema with a K. Go to kinema.com, and yes, you can to rent the Sabu documentary, and it's awesome. You will not be disappointed. I can tell you that much. It's a very gripping film and beautifully done by Joe Clark. So shout out to him as well. Boom. RVD420.com. Check out our new logo too. One of a kind with RVD.
Hey.
Yeah. Changed it up a little bit. But cool, Rob. This will be good, and we'll see you next time here on One of a Kind.
Sounds good, dude. Happy trash night.
Happy trash night.
All right, Van Dam fam. Peace out, hoes.
Peace out. A-Town down. Boom.